So David, a 2-1 defeat against Newcastle Town at home puts an end to a really good run of form this season at home. But it's probably, I think I might have asked you a couple of times in the last couple of games, but game of two halves again.
Yeah, very disappointing. It's game of 2 hours and it wasn't down to weather or conditions or anything like that. It was down to attitude. We praised the players at half time. I thought we were very good in the first half. I thought we caused a lot of problems with movement. A lot of Obs got into the game, we got Obs into the game. We fed him in good areas. I thought Eric caused lots of problems running down the side. I thought Joe and Mason interchanged really well. And we caused problems. We looked a good side and we talked about that and we talked about doing more of the same and maybe for 10 minutes of the second half we did and Obs put one narrowly over. And then we stopped doing what we were doing and when we conceded we crumbled and that's down to attitude and application and it's very difficult when you stood on the side of the pitch and players are passing the ball into touch under no pressure. We coach them, we see them in tight drills and we see them knocking the ball around and we know we can do it. They've done it for the first 55 minutes. It's very difficult to influence that and we've talked about it a lot, that inconsistency and today we've seen that in one game again and there's plenty of quality in the team, there's plenty of quality in this dressing room. We're missing a few big characters. We've obviously lost Luke this week, who was a big character, but players aren't really standing up to be counted when they need to in big moments, and that's really disappointing because quality is nothing without application.
Do you think it was a game of two halves, but do you think we paid the price for maybe not finishing? We had probably 2 or 3 really good chances today.
I think not scoring more in the first half, definitely. But I think then we sort of sat back and accepted what we had at 1-0 and we're not good enough to do that. Very few sides are good enough. If you're trying to defend for 35 minutes, the chances are something will happen. There'll be a deflection or a nick or on a pitch like today, a mistake somewhere. And today it was one player switched off twice and cost us 2 goals. And that isn't acceptable. Players switching off. Sometimes mistakes are kind of unavoidable, a slip, a deflection, things like that. But just switching off, being in the right position and switching off is criminal. And for all the hard work you've done, it's undone by just a lapse of concentration. And we've had that. We had that today. We had that Tuesday. We had that last week. And that's the difference between players who will go on and progress and kick on and play higher and have very, very good careers at this level, and players who will have a quality and talent and have a spell at this level and then drift away and drift back down the leagues. Players need to realise they can't afford to make mistakes. The players who play higher make fewer mistakes.
And you said there, Luke Barlow left the club this week, has gone to his hometown club of Ramsbottom. Is it a big miss, like you said, with a good character? But obviously today you've moved Mark Lees back into defence, but have you got any plans to bring someone in, or will you stick with Mark for the time being?
We're looking to bring somebody in, but 7 days mean that we won't have anybody in before Stay the Bridge, so Mark will have to go there. But if you look at the starting 11 today too, 50% of the back four have changed. That's always difficult. Jack Marrow missing games because of a horrendous tackle that was punished with a yellow card. After Mason Forms has missed several games after a horrendous tackle that was punished with a yellow card. It feels like the edict to referees to protect players seems to have fizzled out somewhat. So that was difficult. We lost Luke, who was the lead, effectively the leader of that defence, but we've also then had to drop Mark in, and that means we've then lost something out of midfield as well. It would have been a different game with Mark Lees in midfield, no question about that. So we definitely are looking to bring players in. It's difficult. It's midpoint of the season. Good players tend to be playing for good teams who are doing well. Do they want to come and change at this point of the season? Budgets are finite, and players who give you quality, who give you leadership, who've got experience, cost, and not necessarily within the budget that we've got to spend. So we've got to look at that as well. And a young centre half coming in. We've had a couple of clubs who've got loans available at centre half, but they're not necessarily what we want. You can end up with a back four of 20-year-olds, and that isn't really what you need in the NPL. So it's difficult. We need to make sure it's the right person, but we're definitely looking to bring reinforcements in.
And then I suppose in a game where it's hard to pick out some key players and how well they played today, we touched on Mark Lees then and stepping into the back, and I know we've conceded 2 today, but no shortage of effort from Mark, and he makes an unbelievable block in the first half.
The goals we conceded weren't really defensive errors. If you look at the goals, it was a corner that first contact wasn't great, and then the player on the edge of the box was allowed to have a shot unchallenged. Some player switched off on the edge of the box. That's not good enough. That's not defensive. The second one, player got called ball watching. The four step through, it was a good pass, good finish, but you can't really expect your centre halves to do very much more when the four stepping in like that. So I thought we defended okay against two big target men. I thought Mark was very good. I thought his block in the first half was sensational for me. It was probably a highlight of the game. I thought the fact that he showed desire not to give up on it, but then the quality and commitment to get across and block that. And it was their real big chance the first half, and as it happened, it didn't matter. But I think had they scored that, I think that would have made the game that much more difficult than it ended up being. So and Mark's come off his sick bed to do that as well. You know, if you talk about desire and attitude, I think Mark showed that in abundance today, as he does every time he kind of crosses the white line.
And then probably the only, well, not the only, but the key sort of one to highlight today, Billy Marsden. We spoke a lot about him. We obviously spoke last season about how much we missed him. A couple of people have chatted online from outside the club about how good he is and what a difference he makes, but he just sometimes makes football look effortless.
Yeah, he's got immense talent. He's athletic. He's a great size. He's physical. He showed that in the booking he picked up today. His desire to go and try and win a ball back, and he won several. Even after that, he won several big tackles. But the way he glides past players, he kind of 2-footed. He just drifts past players. I thought he was really unlucky. He drifted in and put one across the face goal for it when he could maybe have shot. He has the ability to do that, as well as he can pick a pass. He can head. There's very little he can do. He's a bit of a throwback midfielder. He's a proper box-to-box midfielder. Referees just said to me, he pointed out from our team and said he's excellent. He can play higher. There's no doubt Bailey can play higher. Bailey will play higher at some point. That's without question. It's more a matter of when than if. And I actually think as he goes higher, I think he will be even better, because he'll be playing on better quality pitches with better players who make better runs and are better able to see what he's doing, and I think he could excel. I think he's one. We've had a few over the last couple of years, but I think he's another one who could very easily end up in the full-time game.
And then I guess a couple of 3 games now without a win, I think that is, but then playing away to Stalybridge Celtic on Boxing Day is about as big as it gets for us.
Well, players shouldn't need firing up for that one. For so many reasons. There'll be a huge crowd there. It's local rivals. The players have points to prove after today. I thought Tuesday it was an okay point, but then meant we had to win today, and we haven't, and that means we've had a poor December. There's no two-way. You can't dress that up. December has been poor. We've picked up 1 point from 2 games against Newcastle, 1 point from 2 games against Stafford. That's poor. There's no way to dress that up either. So we need a reaction, and players. We talked about character. Players are going to have to show a lot of character, because I think they'll be the best part of 2000. And if you haven't got character, if you aren't able to kind of stick your chest out and deal with that, if you're going to go and fold, that'll be a difficult place to be. So it's on the players. We know we've got the quality. We know we can do it. We've done it at Whitby. We've done it in other games where we've come back from behind. We've shown good attitude. But we need to do that consistently, and that needs to start Boxing Day, or it will be a very, very difficult afternoon.
I'm hoping for a good away travelling as well.
Well, I would hope so. I mean, it's round the corner. I think I was just talking to a couple of fans in the bar then, and they were saying how important Boxing Day is, and everybody's up for it. And I think there'll be a really good contingency from Mosley there. I think there'll be a really good turnout from Stalybridge there. The atmosphere will be electric. I think it'll be great. It was brilliant here last Boxing Day. It was good at their place at Easter. So I think it'll be a really great game to be part of. And your players rise to that occasion. You hope that gives them the push they need. And we've seen probably too many times this season that our team does seem to rise to those. And it's some of the perhaps lesser sides, which is, I think, a misnomer in this league, because I don't think there's much between top and bottom. I think everybody's a good side in this league this year. But against some of those perceived lesser sides who perhaps have a smaller fan base or a lower following, we don't turn up. And so, if we kind of run to form, I would expect we're at it on Boxing Day, and we need to be, because we need to bounce back. We've talked about being streaky before, and we're in danger of this becoming another one of those negative streaks. Whereas we've got ourselves into a decent position. We're still 7th in the league. We tucked in quite nicely. We're probably punching above a little bit, and probably where we expected to be. But we've got ourselves here, and we need to then capitalise on that and push forward and try and maintain and stay in that top half of the league, and not allow ourselves to drift down and start looking over our shoulders again, because that's a pretty uncomfortable place to be.
Thanks, David.
Cheers, Nathan.